In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a world-class AI booking bot. And this works for any type of business. So if your business would make more profit by generating more leads, responding to leads faster and more predictably, this video is for you. And the best part about this system is you can run this 24/7, 365, or just run it after hours, like from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. You can stop the system after 5 messages, or let it run your entire business by qualifying your leads, booking appointments for you, or answering frequently asked questions from potential customers. And in this video, I'm going to show you how this new bot can qualify your leads, book appointments for you, automatically sort leads based on lead quality, like bad leads, good leads, and great leads, as well as automatically categorize which product or service the customer is interested in based on your unique business, and track the engagement of the actual lead so you can see who's engaging with your business and who you should focus on. And lastly, I'm going to show you how this bot can automatically summarize the entire conversation that the AI has had with the lead, so you don't have to scroll through a bunch of messages to figure out what's going on. So in order for this video to make sense and see if it applies to your specific business, you need to understand why I built this and what problem it solves. So I make money by running ads for real estate investors to help them find more off-market properties to flip or wholesale. So I help real estate investors find properties that look like this so they can make them look like this. And real estate investors make money when they sell remodeled homes, and they pay me to run ads and find leads and properties that look like this before they show up on the actual market. And I've been doing this for the past 7 years, and I've managed over $1.5 million in Facebook ads. I use Facebook ads to find these types of properties, and you can even see a screenshot here of just the past few months of people that I run ads for, or people that use my software to run their own ads. You can see we have $250,000 worth of ad spend and 5,674 leads. And the reason that I share this with you is because on average, for every 100 leads that I generate an investor, only 3% of those leads actually turn into a profit. So in essence, 97% of leads are a waste of time. So I built this AI booking bot to solve these 3 problems. And one is to let the automation disqualify the time wasters so that my clients aren't spending time with people that don't actually need their help. We also need to automatically organize the important leads so that my clients can easily see who to focus on. And lastly, we want to help our clients focus our limited energy on serious leads, because the bot really isn't designed to replace skilled humans. The bot is simply there to assist my clients so they can actually work with people who need their help. And here I have a screenshot, and to summarize this screenshot, on average, conversion rates from top of funnel marketing strategies will be 2.5 to 3%. To simplify this, for every 33 leads that your business gets, 1 will turn into profit. So yes, you can create better ads and better funnels and better surveys, but at the end of the day, the average and standard conversion rates are going to still fall between 2.5 to 3%. So the solution is not necessarily better ads or more complicated funnels. It's letting automation handle the standard conversion rate that already exists and just getting the 97% of time-wasting leads out of the way. So by the end of this video, you will know how to build a world-class booking bot for your business or for your clients that can qualify leads based on custom qualifying questions that you create, book appointments for you automatically, as well as organize leads based on quality parameters that you set. So for example, let's say a bad lead has a budget of $500 or less for your specific product or service, and a good lead has a budget from $500 to $1,000 for your service, and a great lead has a budget of $5,000 or more. We can automatically scan the entire context of the conversation using AI, and based on the budget that the lead says that they have, we can automatically organize this. And keep in mind, we can customize this for any type of business. I'm also going to show you how to track the number of engagements that the lead has had with your business. So you can see, for example, John Smith has sent us 20 messages. He's a great lead. He has a great budget. Let's give that person a call, versus not being able to see this information and just doing rapid fire and trying to contact all of your leads. I'll also show you how you can organize these leads based on specific products or services that they're interested in. For example, if you own a roofing business and there's a specific type of roof that you're running a special on, we can show that the lead is interested in that specific roof just using AI. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to summarize conversations with leads so that if they've engaged 20 times or 30 times, you don't have to manually scroll through all of these different conversations and try to figure out what's going on. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. And now let's get into the actual training. All right, so before we get into the actual training, first things first. We are going to build this system based on function first. So our first goal is to get the system to actually work. We can do the customization later where you change the qualifying questions, you make it unique to your business. But if you try to do these things at the same time, it's going to get confusing and you're probably not going to follow through. So number one is function first. Follow the instructions that I'll be giving you in this video. And then secondary, we can show you how to customize it later and make it unique to your business. And if you're not technically savvy or you would just prefer to skip the entire building process, you can click the link below and get this entire system automatically installed into your account. So the first step to building this system is we need a two-way conversation inbox. So in order for this system to work, we need to be able to send text messages to our leads, and we need to be able to receive messages from our leads. The tool that I recommend for this is called High Level, and it basically gives you an inbox that looks like this, as well as a mobile app so you can interact with your leads and customers. So there's a link down below where you can sign up for a 30-day free trial. And once you've signed up for your trial, you will have an inbox that looks like this. There aren't going to be any messages there, but this is step one to this process. All right, so quick disclaimer, in order for you to get this system up and running, you will need a approved phone number. So inside of High Level, you will click on your settings and then go to phone numbers, then you'll click add number, and then you can just choose a add phone number again. And then you can choose one of these numbers here. If you want to choose a toll-free number, you can do this as well. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of choosing a number and getting it approved. I do have a video. If you search it up, open a new tab, type in Quinn Nolan A2P, you will see how to purchase a number and how to get your number approved, but I don't want to include this in this video because it's pretty boring. So now that we have our High Level account, now we need to build our automation. So our chatbot system will be set up very simple. When a lead sends us a message, we want to send that message to AI to generate a response, and then we want to be able to send that response back to the lead. So in order to do this, we need to create 3 custom fields. And don't worry if you've never done this before, everything's going to make sense at the end if you follow along. So the first custom field that we need to create is called GPT Assistant Response Message. To keep this simple, this is where we're going to store the response from the AI that we send to the lead. The second custom field is going to be called the messages sent by bot, and this will be a number. So every time the bot sends a message to the lead, we will add a +1 so we can easily track the number of engagement the lead has had with our system. And lastly, this one's going to be called type of transaction, or you can just call this product interest depending on your business. And this is where we're going to organize which type of product or service the lead is interested in based on the context of the entire conversation. So these are the 3 custom fields that we're going to create, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So inside of Go High Level, we're going to click on Settings, and we're going to click on Custom Fields, and then we're going to click on Add Field. And the first one here, like I said, is going to be called the GPT Assistant Response Message. So I can simply copy this here, and I'm just going to click on Multiple Line and click Next. And then we're just going to paste this here. And for the group, we can save this as additional info and just save. You'll see that I've already created this field since I built this before, but you would just click Save. So now we're going to do the second field, which is going to be the messages sent by bot. So we're just going to copy this over here, go to Add Field, and then this one will now be a value-based field, which will be number, and we're going to click Next, and we're just going to paste this here, and we can also save this in the additional info and click Save. And you'll see that I've also already created this. Lastly, we are going to create the third field, which is called type of transaction, or like I said, you can call this product interest for your business and just click Add Field. So we're going to click on Multiple Line and click Next, and then just type that in right here and then do additional info and click Save. And you'll see that I've done those 3 fields. So that is the first part of building our automation. So now you should have these 3 custom fields, and if you search in the search bar here, you should see those fields. So GPT Assistant Response Message, and then I can do messages sent by bot, and then I can see type of transaction. So those are the 3 fields, and those were successfully created. So now we are going to build the second part of our automation, and I'll be walking you through this. So you'll go into Go High Level, and we'll navigate away from custom fields, and we will click on Go Back, and then we'll go into this automation section, and we will click on Create Workflow, and we will click Start from Scratch. And then you should see a blank workflow that looks like this. And so I already have mine created, so I'm simply going to walk you through all of the steps that I use to build this actual automation. So the first step is we need to create what's called a trigger. And this is going to trigger when the customer replies to us via SMS. So what we're going to do is click on add new trigger, and we can just type in customer replied, and you'll see it right here under events. Now, once you select this, you will see the rest of the workflow trigger, and we're going to add 2 filters. So the first filter is going to be called reply channel. So we're going to click add filter, and then you'll go to, it'll say reply channel. I've already selected it here, and then you're just going to choose SMS right there. And that means this will work via text message. And then lastly, we're going to choose doesn't have tag, and then we're going to choose the stop bot tag. And the reason for this is if you or your customers or whoever you're servicing the system for needs to stop the system, they can simply tag the lead, and then the system will not run. Okay, so that's the first workflow. The second workflow is going to be a trigger for when the bot replies. So we're going to click add new trigger, and we're going to type in contact changed. And then what we're going to do is this one over here. You can rename this as well, the workflow trigger name, so yours lines up. Yours will probably say contact changed, so you can rename this to bot replied if you'd want to follow along exactly. Then for the filters, you're going to choose the GPT assistant response message has changed. And the reason being is when we send the response back from the AI, this field will change with the response. So you would just type in GPT assistant response, and you should see it pull up, and then just choose has changed. And that will be the first part of this workflow, which are the 2 triggers. Now we're going to create the first action. Okay, so we have our 2 triggers. So when the customer replies and when the bot replies, but nothing will happen after that. So we need to click on this plus here, and we're going to type if else, and you'll choose this action called if else. And then when you choose that, you're going to see a blank condition, okay? And you're going to see a branch here, and you can name this first branch customer replied. And what you're going to do is click on workflow trigger, and then is customer replied, all right? Then what you're going to do is click on add branch. We're going to add our second branch, and then this one will be called bot replied. So keep in mind, these line up exactly with the triggers, so they go down the correct path. So bot replied, and then we're going to do workflow trigger is bot replied, and then we're simply going to save this. So now what you should see are 2 triggers here, the bot replied and customer replied. Don't worry about if they're in a different order. Sometimes they change around. And you should see a condition, a customer replied branch, a bot replied branch, and then a none. And then there shouldn't be anything else underneath these, okay? So we're just going to start from left to right and create our customer replied action. And so what you're going to do here is just click on the plus, and then you can just type in webhook here. And you want to make sure the method says post, and then the URL, you can just put in google.com for right now. The reason being is we just need a placeholder value so we can save this. If we don't put any sort of URL here, we can't actually save this, and then it's going to be incomplete. So just put google.com, save it, and we're going to be coming back to this later. So now you should see this trigger, this condition, this branch, and then this webhook, and then now we're going to do this bot replied one. So underneath the bot replied, we're going to click the plus, and we're going to type in math operation, and we're going to select the field, which is messages sent by bot. And then for the operator, we're going to click add, and then we're just going to put a 1 so that every time the bot sends a message to the lead, we're just going to add a 1 so that after 10 messages, it would say 10, okay? And then for the update field, we're going to choose the same exact field and then just save that. And then we're pretty much almost done with this part of the automation. So below this, we're going to click on the plus, and then we're going to type in SMS and choose the action, send SMS, all right? And then once you've done that, you are going to click on this custom values here, and you're going to click on contact, and you can scroll down to custom fields. You're not going to see all these because these aren't mine, but you can just type in GPT, and you will choose the GPT assistant response message. You probably will not have any of these others unless you followed along with my videos, but you will just choose this one, and it should just look like this. So when the bot actually replies, which we're going to be setting up in just a second, this will pull the response from the bot, and it'll update the custom data, and then we'll simply save this, okay? So that's good, and that completes this part of the workflow. So as you can see here, this is what it should look like, and feel free to rewind the video and just go through it step by step. But this is part 1 of building the actual automation. So this is what you should have up until this point. Okay, if you skip the custom fields or any of the other steps before, you're not going to be able to do this. So that's the first part of the automation. All right, and so the next step is to create our pipeline, and our pipeline is basically just the stages that the leads will move to and from. So you'll have bad lead, good lead, great lead. When this is all set up, you'll see how this works. So just click on opportunities, pipelines, click create new, and then you'll see something like this, and you can just follow this exact formula: lead quality, stage name, bad lead, and then you'll just click add stage, and then good lead, and then add stage, great lead, and then you can just, well, this won't be there. I'm adding these to show you, but you should just see lead quality, bad lead, good lead, great lead. You can turn these on if you'd like. They're not relevant to the system, and then you can just click save. So that is how to make the pipeline. Now we are going to build our second automation, and what this automation will do is basically move the lead into a certain stage based on the quality of the lead. And like I said, if you don't quite understand all of this, you'll see everything tied together at the end. Just follow along, and as long as you set this up correctly, it will work, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to back out of this workflow we just created and just click save, and then we can click back to workflows. So you'll do the same thing. You'll click create workflow, start from scratch, and then you'll have a blank workflow. I already have this created, so I'm just going to walk you through, everything in this workflow. So same logic again. We're going to click on add new trigger, and the first trigger we're going to select is the contact changed. And this one will be the contact change, and then for the filters, we're going to choose messages sent by bot has changed. So what does this mean? Well, remember in the previous workflow, we added that +1 every time we send a message. Well, this is now connected to this because every time that value changes, it's going to follow this workflow. We still haven't built it, but this is how the system is connected already, okay? So you just close this one out, make sure it's saved, and you'll have this first one in here saved, okay? Then you're going to add another new trigger, and this will be the same type, which is contact changed. And now the contact change will be the filter of type of transaction, or for you, it may be the product interest field. It's the same thing. And so we're going to choose type of transaction and then has changed. And so what this signals is that every time the lead engages with our bot is going to analyze the conversation, pick up on parts of the conversation where the lead is expressing interest in a certain product or a certain service. And so when that changes, we want to update this automation as well. So those are the first two triggers here. Now we're going to click on plus, and we're going to do the same thing, if else, and then we should have our first branch here. So what you should see is just a branch right here that you're going to rename, and then you won't see any of these other ones. So just follow along. So for this one, you can simply just name the first branch bad. Remember I said function first, customization later. So this is customized for my specific use case. So it's named a little bit differently, but for you, just type in bad, and this will be where our bad leads go, which I'll show you more about in a second. So then what you're going to do is click on the type of transaction and then just do contains and then bad. And then you don't need to add an additional segment here, so you won't see an or. This is just my custom thing. So you should just see type of transaction contains bad. That's it. Then what you're going to do is scroll down and click add branch. And then now you're going to create the good branch. So you're going to type in good here, type of transaction contains, and you'll just type good here, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll add in this last branch, which is our great leads, and then we're going to do type of transaction contains great, okay? So don't worry about, like I said, the different labels here in mine, just so you can understand here, our real estate investor clients are looking for distressed properties that they can wholesale or flip. So a bad lead is an incorrect submission or somebody that wants to list their property. So this is why I have this bad lead here. And then other, which would be a different type of creative real estate deal. It's, I'm not going to get into all the specifics. My bot will categorize that as other, which is still a good lead for my type of clients because some of them also do creative real estate deals, right? And then for the great type of leads that our clients are looking for, they are looking for wholesale leads or flip leads that they can flip properties on. So I just have this keyword here, and this will all make sense in just a second. But yours should just say type of transaction contains bad, type of transaction contains good, type of transaction contains, and then great. And then you'll save that. So now you will see two triggers, one condition, and 1, 2, 3, 4 branches. Yours will say bad, good, great, and then none is default, will always get created. So left to right on the bad, conditional branch, we're going to click plus, and then we're going to type update, create update opportunity. And then what we're going to do here is click on action name and then create or update opportunity. And then in pipeline, we are going to choose the lead quality pipeline. It's the only one we've created. And then in the pipeline stage, we are going to choose the bad lead stage. Okay. And then what we're doing here is we're going to name this opportunity. So with just a few clicks, we can see the lead's name, the type of product or transaction that they're most likely a fit for, the number of messages sent by the bot, and that's basically it. So in order to get these fields here, you simply click on this tag here, choose contact, and then choose contact full name, and then you can just put a dash right here, and then you're going to put in this next custom field, which for you will be if you're following exactly, it's going to be the contact type of transaction. If you did product interest, it's going to be that one. So you'll click on tags, and then you can just type in type of transaction or product interest. You just click that there, and then that will map in here. And then the last one, we'll just do another dash, and then we're going to do messages sent by bot. So you'll choose the tag. You can type in messages sent by bot. And now you will have this, third unique identifier in the name of the opportunity. And then I just type interactions so that, let's say the lead has engaged 10 times. It would say John Smith, wholesale/flip, and then it would say 10 interactions, right? And this first one should say lead quality, bad lead, and then you should see the opportunity name here, and then you can just click on save, okay? Now, if for whatever reason this is turned off, you should turn this on, because sometimes if you set this up the way I am, leads may move from one pipeline stage to another because they may, say that they're not interested and then they're interested again, or vice versa. And so if you turn this off, then this automation won't work if leads are moving to different stages, okay? So that's the first one over here. One trigger condition, bad, and then this one's created. Now what I like to do is just click copy and then copy action, and then I just move this over here, and then all you're going to do is change the pipeline stage to good lead. You don't need to change any of this because we want this to be a standard for all of the leads, okay? So we can see all that data regardless of the stage. Then we're going to click save action, boom. Then same thing, we can copy action, click copy here, and then we will just change this one from good to great. And then there you go. Keep this all the same. Make sure these are turned on for each of these three actions. And that will complete the second workflow automation. So the first automation allows us to communicate to the lead with AI. The second automation will now categorize the lead based on the quality, and we'll be setting up the parameters at the end, but that's what we've created so far. Okay, so now we need to tie everything together. So we have our SMS platform, which is Go High Level, and we have the frame, which are the two automations that we created. Now we need to link it to the highest quality AI, which is GPT-4o, to generate the best responses to these actual leads. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to create what's called a Zap inside of a software called Zapier. And if you're new to it, like I said, just follow along and trust the process. Everything will go according to plan, okay? So what we're going to do is basically link what's called a webhook, and that webhook will trigger when the customer replies. When that triggers, we send that message over to ChatGPT, and it generates a response. And because we store the entire conversation inside of ChatGPT, we can automatically summarize the conversation between the AI and the lead, and we can also categorize the lead because the AI will read, 25, 30, however many messages between the AI and the lead, and figure out which product or service the lead is a best fit for. And then lastly, step 5, it's called lead connector, but this is Go High Level. And then this is how we're going to send the actual message back to the lead, as well as update the notes and update the quality of the lead. So just trust the process, but now it's time to tie it all together, okay? So what we're going to do is open up Zapier, and you will click on Create a Zap. And I'm just going to walk you through this one that's already been created, and everything will go according to plan, like I said. So the first step is going to be to click on Webhook, okay? Webhooks by Zapier, and I'll just click on Edit so you can see inside here. So you'll click Webhooks by Zapier, and you'll click on Catch Hook for the event. And then for the test, we are actually gonna get this URL here. And remember where we had the google.com? We can simply copy this over here, go back to Go High Level, and then inside of our AI booking bot, we can simply paste this value here. So this obviously was saved as my actual webhook. Yours would say Google, so then you should save this here. And then now we've already connected a customer reply to Zapier. We still have a few more steps to go, but now you can see how everything's working together. So in order to successfully trigger the webhook, and if you're new to webhooks, all it means is just sending data from one app to another. That's the simplest way to explain it. We need to actually message our bot. So this is the bot's phone number. So I'm just going to message this. You can just do this from your cell phone, but I'm just going to do hello 12345, and then I'm going to send this over. Okay. Now the bot will not respond yet, or mine actually probably will because it's turned on, but yours won't. And so what we're going to do now, boom, there you can see we're already getting somewhere. Yours will not do that, but you can already see how this thing works. So what we're going to do is now that we sent over this message here, hello 12345, I have 2 bots turned on, so don't worry about that. But basically, if we click on Find New Records, we should see a new request here, and we should be able to see that message, hello 12345, reply stop to unsubscribe. So this is how we're going to send this message over to the bot. So now that we've triggered this successfully, we can click on continue with selected record. And then we're going to add our second step, which is to generate a response from GPT. So what you're going to do is you're going to select the ChatGPT app, and then the event is going to be conversation. Then you'll link your ChatGPT or OpenAI account, and then you'll go to the action step. Okay. So now for the user message, this is where the bot is, this is the message the bot is responding to. We're going to click here into this field, and then we're just going to type in message body. You can see this is already mapped, but we will select this. So now every time the lead messages ChatGPT, it will dynamically update, and that's how we can get it to actually respond correctly and intelligently. So for the model, yours may not say GPT-4o or GPT-4, but whatever the default model is selected, it should be fine. It most likely, if you're new to AI and stuff, it's probably GPT 3.5 or 3.5 Turbo. That doesn't matter right now, okay? So just make sure there's a model selected. And then for the memory key, you're gonna click over here and type in contact ID. And basically, you can read what this is, but this is a unique value that's going to allow the assistant to continue a conversation from previous messages. So this is the whole power of the AI, is so that it remembers the entire conversation. Everything the lead has ever said, it will have, it'll keep track of this, okay? So you'll just type in contact ID, and if 10 leads are messaging the bot, they're all going to have different contact IDs, and this is how the AI can have 10, 100 simultaneous conversations and know exactly who to respond to and everything they've said up until this point. So memory key should say contact ID, and then for the image, you'll just leave this blank. Now for the username, this may not have any sort of value if you didn't name the contact in the system where the bot is, but you can just click on the first name here. If it's not there, what you can do to trigger it is when you're inside of the system where you have the bot, you can simply rename this. So I can do testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can save this. And you can already see it's doing its thing. But inside of here, I can just say, hi, I need to sell. And I'm simply doing this to re-trigger the webhook. So we have the correct field here. You'll see this change. So if I go back over here, I go to test, I should see another new record. So it should pop up in a second. Boom, there it is. And so when we continue right here, then we can, inside of the action, you'll see there the first name is saved. Okay, so if you're having any sort of issue there, just re-trigger the webhook so you get the most recent data. It's as simple as that. All right, so now we have the first name here and the assistant name. This is the name of the actual bot. So I just like to call mine Jackie. You can call it whatever you like and just put it right there. Now for your assistant instructions, yours will probably say you are a helpful assistant. So just leave that as is. This is the function first, framework here. Just leave the settings. We'll customize it later because this is already a pretty technical training, right? So leave that as is. Leave the tokens as is, and the temperature, you can leave it as is as well. It probably will say 1.0. All right. So what you're going to do is just click continue, and then now we're going to retest this step, and we should see a successful test here. So boom, it was successful, and we can actually see the reply. Okay, so I sent the message, right? Hi, I need to sell. You can see this right here, and then you can see it now responded right there, and there was the actual response, right? So yours will not be sending the message back and forth quite yet, but you can already see how this thing works. Okay, so we're just taking data between apps and connecting it all. That's all we're doing. Okay, so now we can click continue. So we basically have set up the framework so we can get the message from the lead, generate a response, and now we're going to do these other two steps, which is how do we summarize the entire conversation so that it goes into our CRM, and then how do we organize which product or service the lead is interested in. So for this, so you should have step 1 and step 2. You're going to click plus again and choose ChatGPT. And now for the event, we are going to choose the summarize text option. Okay, summarize text. And link the same GPT account here. And then for your action, we're going to see text to be summarized. All right. So we're going to click on this, and then we're going to choose this second step here. Yours may not say generate response. It just should say conversation or something. It should just be number 2 though. And what you're going to do is you can just type in history content, and you can actually see here's the entire history of the conversation, right? And so this is what it's going to summarize. So you just click this, and then every time a message gets sent, it always gets updated, and then it summarizes the most recent version of the conversation. So just map that there. For the model, you can leave it at default, whatever it is. Leave the tokens and temperature and all this stuff the same. and then click on test, and then you can click on retest step. And there you can see the actual summary. User wants to sell property, new breed investor requests property details. That's the summary, right? That's what's going to go into the notes. So this should be a success. And then we're just going to click continue, and we're almost done. Okay. So if you've gotten this far, you're literally like 95% of the way, and you're going to have a pretty sick bot. Okay. So you're going to click plus, you're going to add one more action here with GPT. And then for the event, you're going to do classify text. Okay. Same thing, link your OpenAI account, click action, and then here is the text to be classified. So function first, customization later. Simply map this history content. So choose the exact same data that you got from this step, which was from here, right? And you can just do history content. And so we want the GPT to classify based on the entire conversation, right, which category this lead should fit into. So you'll just click on this history content right there. Don't worry about this additional prompt. We can touch on this later. It should just, have the history content here. Then for your categories, you can just do bad, good, and then you can do great. Okay, don't describe these yet because we just want to get this thing functioning. Okay, so this category should say bad, this one should say good, and then this one should say great. And that's it. You should just have 3 categories here. Leave the tokens, leave the model, all this stuff, leave this as is, and then we can go to test. And then now you can see here, if I retest this step, it will categorize the lead based on the parameters I've set. So there's only been one message so far, so it's categorizing as a traditional listing just based on, what I've responded to so far. So you just should see some sort of output. If it can't categorize it because you don't have any description, you can just add other there, and you can retest it, and it'll probably put the lead into the other category. Okay, so click on continue, and we're literally, we're almost done. Okay, so now we're going to click on plus and add our last step, which is to send a message to the lead. Okay, so for the app, you're going to select lead connector, and for the event, you're going to choose add or update contact. All right, and then you're going to link your Go High Level account right here. And then we're going to just follow these actions, and we're pretty much going to be done. So for the first name, right, we're just going to choose from the webhook here, first name. Okay, you don't need to do last name. All you need is first name and phone number for these fields. You don't need an email because all we're doing is finding the contact in High Level based on the phone number, and then we're sending it the message. So just map the first name and then map the phone number, all from step 1. Then we're going to scroll down. And you may not see all these other fields I have, so don't worry about that. You're going to choose mark as lead and choose that as true. And then for notes, you are going to click on this summary. So inside of the contact in High Level, we want to take the response, which was the summary right here. So summary, user wants to sell property, new breed investor requests property details, right? That's as far as the conversation has gone. So you just simply click this, and this will now map into the notes section. So now when there's conversation going on, that'll update into the notes automatically. So scroll down, and then we're gonna, like I said, you're not gonna probably have all these fields, so don't worry about them. And then for the type of transaction, this will be mapped from number 4. So you can choose the category right here, which is traditional listing, and yours may say other or whatever, good, bad, or great. Just choose that value right here. Boom. And then we're literally on the last step right here. So scroll down, you're not going to see some of these other fields. We're just looking for the GPT assistant response message. So this is how the whole thing ties together. So when this field, right, gets updated, we want it to update based on the response, right? So you're going to click on this, and you could just type reply, and make sure to choose it from step 2 and choose the reply. Don't choose the history content, just choose the reply, because this is the reply from GPT to this message. So click on that, and there you go. And now if we click continue and I click retest step here, you should have a successful, boom, there you go. And there you can see it just resent the message because, it's successfully turned on. So we've now completed the entire build. Let me show you the demo and how it works, and we'll be on our way. All right, so let me demonstrate the entire function of the system step by step. So here I am inside of my Go High Level account. You can use your cell phone, but this is basically me sending a message to the bot, okay? So I'm gonna say hello there. And when I send this, I wanna just tell you what's gonna happen before so you understand exactly how this works, okay? So now that we've set everything up, and when I send this message, it will trigger this webhook, all right? And the reason that happens is, if you remember in our first workflow we created, When a customer replies, they go down this branch and it triggers the webhook, right? And the webhook URL is linked from this step right here, and it's linked right there. Boom. So when I send the message, it triggers the webhook, right? When it triggers the webhook, we now send this new message, right, from the user, from the lead to ChatGPT. Your assistant instructions will say you are a helpful assistant, so don't worry about it being the exact same as mine. But what happens in this step is we generate a response to that message. So when I say hello there, GPT will respond to that message, okay? Then we're going to summarize the dialogue, right, which is the entire conversation history between the lead and our AI, and then it's going to produce a summary, okay? Then it's going to categorize the lead based on the categories that you set right here, and it's going to produce, an output of which category it best thinks the lead fits into. Then, which ties it all together, is we now update, right, this contact inside of high level by updating the notes. We update the notes from step 3 because this is the summary of the dialogue, and we want that within our notes. Then we update the type of transaction, which is going to be the step 4, the categorized transaction type. And then we send this message back to the lead. How does the message get sent to the lead? Well, remember right here, we have our trigger where when this field changes, right, which conveniently is this exact field, then it goes down this condition, boom, it chooses which workflow trigger it is, which it's the bot replied. So it goes down here, we add a +1 to the contact, and then we send that message, which is just the newly updated field, to the actual lead. So as soon as I send this over, the webhook triggers, we send that message to GPT to respond, it summarizes the response, and then it categorizes the lead, and then lastly, it ties it all together by updating the note, updating the type of transaction, and then sending the message to the lead. So inside of the system where the bot is, where I actually have the bot, you can see here, there is no contact here. So the moment that I send this message, we should see, just the phone number here, and then we should see the lead inside of one of these stages. Initially, it probably will just be bad lead or whatever because there's only one message. And then we'll see all the data right here, and that'll be the completion of this build. It took me a lot of time. So I'm just going to click send, and boom, it's going to say hello there. And it may take a second here because sometimes high level takes a second. But if you're sending this from your cell phone, it pretty much should go through instantly. So boom, there you go. Hello there. And it's going to respond now in just a second. And then I'll show you the back end where the bot is, where all those actions take place. So give it just a second. All right, so hey there, thanks for reaching out. How can I assist you with your property today? Are you looking to sell, rent, or need some other assistance? So your response is going to be different because we haven't went over the customization element, right? But mine responded this way, and if we go inside of the CRM, and we click on contacts, there you can see, the contact, and then you can see here interactions. So this is now created right there, one interaction, and it says other, perfectly because we haven't gone into any sort of interaction with the lead where we can categorize it. You won't see the lead's name because I didn't save it. So once I save the lead, and I can just say Mr. Homeowner, I can just save that, and then now I can interact again, and I can say I need to sell my house. And then as more messages get sent from the user and the bot starts to understand the context of the conversation, it gets more accurate with which category the lead falls into. And especially as you categorize each of those stages, more definitively, it'll just pretty much, link the lead to that category if it hits any one of those keywords or ways that you've described the actual categories. Okay. So it's not showing that it's sent, but if I refresh, it'll show it. And I just want to show you guys how it works. And then I'll just walk through. So boom, I need to sell my house. Great. Can you provide some details about your property? For example, location, size, any recent renovations. This will help us better assist you. And so one, just to keep the, so you guys understand this, this is based on this prompt. So I found for my clients and AI in general, it's better to have, a general purpose in terms of an objective, right? You can see the job is to have conversations with these homeowners and understand their needs. Because if you tell it specifically what to do, right, as I showed in the presentation, 97% of the leads are just not going to be a fit for the service or just never buy, right? And so instead of trying to force people down a specific path, I'd rather have the AI tap into all of its intelligence and just figure out what the lead wants, right? And once it can extract all of that information from the lead, you can easily see the summary of the conversation, and you can see it moved it here, traditional listing, based on just this next message. As I respond more to it, it's going to move me around, and you'll see, I'll demonstrate it for you. But that's the power of more of a general AI with like you have an industry or specific type of customer you're talking to, but you can make it so that your AI is really just there to answer questions and extract as much information without being pushy, so that it can, you can design the system for organizing them. And once you can see they're interacting and the history of the conversation, which you can see here, here's the notes, right? So how can I assist you with your property today? Sell, rent, or other assistance. User wants to sell their house and has asked for property details. Look how simple that is. So if I respond back and I say, yes, property is located in Dallas, Texas. I inherited the property, okay? And so just before I send this, let me explain what should happen. But for the business that I'm in, which is helping real estate investors, usually somebody that's inherited a property is a good fit for what's called a wholesale or flip, okay? And as you can see here, this prompt is saying you are a real estate savant. So I don't want to instruct you and tell you what to do. You've analyzed literally billions of parameters of language as well as on the internet. So I want to let you decide what category you think this lead falls into based on all your knowledge. I'm just going to set the buckets up, and then you decide where to put them. And you can correct this obviously as you learn more about AI. But after I send this message, ideally, right, I want this lead to say wholesale and flipped. And I want that lead to be moved from this bad lead over here, because I have the bad lead defined as a listing, because that's not what our clients do. You can change that with just a few clicks. But ideally, after I send this message, it moves me over here to great lead, and it says wholesale or flip, okay? And that's because that's our target actual client, okay? You can customize this for your whole business. So I'm going to say my property is located in Dallas, Texas. I inherited the property, and it's not been renovated since we bought it. It's extremely trashed. I'm just going to say something that's pretty obviously a wholesale or flip type of transaction, okay? So I'm going to go over here, and let's see if this moves. If I know what I'm doing, it should move over to great lead, and it should now say wholesale. Oh, it does it in real time. Let's see if it moves me over. I didn't know it would do it like that. I may have to refresh it. But it should move me over here, and it should say wholesale or flip. So boom, there it is, Mr. Home. Man, you guys don't know how long this took me. It says Mr. Homeowner Wholesale Flip. And so now, like I said, all these conversations can be had on autopilot. You can do this for any business. I could go on and on, if we did a one-on-one call together or something, I could show you how to change this for any business. But you can see here, this is just another view of the actual contact. Mr. Homeowner Wholesale Flip, 2 interactions. That's just the name of the contact, and then it's in the stage great lead. So this is the power of what I call a world-class AI booking bot. You want it to be intelligent enough to handle conversations on its own, and then you or somebody on your team be the mastermind of building it so that it can do a lot of these actions for you. So there's so much more that you could do here. I could go on and on, but I'll leave it at that. And I just want to walk you through, a few elements to customize so you understand it. So here is your prompt. So this is where the actual lead, this is the brain of the responses from the AI. Okay. So if you want to add qualifying questions here, or, a calendar link or something like that, if they express wanting to book an appointment, you can do all of that right here in the assistant instructions. Okay. And then if you want to, I wouldn't probably recommend changing this unless you're not getting good summaries, but this is basically what is added into the notes. So if we go over here and we click on notes, you can see user wants to sell an inherited, unrenovated trash property. Look how good that is, right? So you shouldn't have to adjust that. But if you want to add a little more context, you can. Here's the prompt, and then right here is probably where you're going to do the most customization. So if you're a roofing business or plumbing business or restaurant, whatever it is, you just want to give the AI free reign to basically, analyze the conversation. You can pretty much use this template and swap it out, but you want to just give it enough of context so it knows what it's analyzing. And then for your categories, you know, you can pretty much follow this. Like a bad lead is someone that's not interested in the product or service, right? Maybe an incorrect submission, or they're telling you to stop or whatever. Then you can put like a good lead. So if you're you know, maybe if you're a roofing business, a good lead is somebody that needs a new roof, but they don't need one for the next 6 months or 12 months, right? Then maybe a great lead is someone who needs a new roof within the next 30 days. So you can just simply name these here and then describe them right there. And then if you want to have a category of other, you can do that as well. So that's what you customize there. And then in the automation section, you can go to this lead quality. And I just want to make sure you understand how this works. So for bad leads for our business, right, the type of transaction, right, which is this step that I just showed you, it is either a bad lead or a traditional listing is what we have it as, right? So those are the leads that when that keyword is triggered, so these keywords, right, should line up with the 2 fields here, okay? And then the good one is other, right? So like I told you, more creative real estate or whatever, this should be an open to other options. But wholesale flip, which is like I'm letting GPT take in all the data it's ever taken in and saying, oh, this person inherited it, it's trash, they need to sell fast, this is a wholesaler flip, right? And so the great leads go down this path because it contains just this keyword, and that's how it works. So if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. And if you want this system, you can check out the link below. If you like this, like I said, you know, let me know in the comments too if you guys want to see other bot builds. I don't know how I'm going to top this one. This one's like a perfect blend of simplicity. It's faster to set up than other ones that I've set up. It is a little more nuanced in terms of the Zap and stuff, but I don't know how I'll top this one, but this one is pretty sick. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.